Good morning, brothers and sisters. Doug White down here in Alabama, or beginning to see down here in Alabama. Beginning to see. I say that because in my twilight years, I'm beginning to see a little bit more clearly uh, the world that we're living in, this present evil world that Jesus talked about, was much more evil than I ever, most men never dare to think. But anyway, I want to do this video this morning about, I'm going to call it the Holiness Lady. The Holiness Lady. Well, a little background on the Holiness Lady. We worked for years and years and years and years and years down here in the cotton mill, down here in a little town we live in. And I would see her, just about every day. She worked in the weave shed. She was talented in the weaving. She could do things that men just couldn't do. She was a weaver. Anyway, but she wore in her religion, holiness religion, you could lose your salvation at the drop of a hat. And anyway, we would get into theological discussions, sometime we'd meet, you'd see her in this little room that they prepared some of the mechanical stuff they used out in the weave shed. I'd see her every once in a while. We talk about God. She sensed. I believe her to be a child of grace, brothers and sisters. I don't believe that how bad you goof it up in your religious doctrine has anything to do with your eternal destiny. But she did. She did, and she knew all, and whatever religious order she was involved in, made sure that they had the letter that kills right there in front of them every time she went. But anyway, I could see that it was, that I didn't agree with it. I told her how I believed. She thought that was she didn't like that. She didn't like it. She didn't believe that. Don't you know that without holiness, no man shall see God? They base their whole religion over one verse in Hebrews 2:14, I think. Of course, I don't believe that's what he's talking about. I believe he's talking to saints of God in Hebrews and see God. It doesn't say, are you going to hell if you do this or don't do that. But anyway, they had a works-based religion or something to do. Wear your hair in a certain way, was frowned on. Wearing pants was frowned on. And so she wore a dress, which that's well and good. But it came up in the cotton mill where that she was going to have to be, to keep her job, she was going to have to be she was going to have to wear pants because they put out one of the ladies got her dress caught in one of the looms, and they sent out a safety rule that all the women weavers, people out in the weaving, would have to wear pants for safety reasons. Well, that went against their religion, and she was going to have to make a decision. And she was responsible for a lot of these kids. She had a bunch of people in the family that were needing her. Well, anyway, she was a talented lady, had all the attributes of God, patient, kind, and everything else, except for the drop of the hat, something to do gospel that the people were peddling to her. Well, it came down to the day where she had to wear pants, and lo and behold, she came in there and she had on slacks, pants, for safety reasons, which I thought was okay, because she was always modest in dress, but she saw that as sin. She saw that as a sin, but she had to go against it, and somehow or another she made it right. But I saw it like this, how much holiness is enough holiness for God, Uh, how much, are we ever going to live up to that holiness? So some people take scripture and make a religion out of it, something to do. It's either, brothers and sisters, it's either of works, not of works, lest any man should go boast, or works. Works and grace won't mix together. So it's all by grace, brothers and sisters. If you think you stand, if you think you've finally measured up, then God's going to show you some other part of your life that you don't measure up. Say, just so you'll realize it. Just fall on your knees and say, "God, be merciful to me, a sinner." Well, anyway, she came in and she had on the she had to keep that job, and she had to do what they said to do for safety reasons. But anyway, I saw her down at one of these thrift stores down here in the next town down here. There she was. Cotton mills had moved away, closed down and moved away, and there she was. And she was getting up there in age, and I was already up there in age. God had taken care of her all these years. God loved her in spite of her, I believe, to be error in her doctrine. But he loved her and kept her all those years just the same. And I can see that, I can see that. And he kept me too. This wretched man that I am, he's also kept me. So I see it as 100% grace. And I don't try to tempt God, but before I get to the coffee maker sometime, I fail God in thought, word, and deed, brother and sister. So that's what I was saying. Oh no, okay. Let's see if I got time to put on this video. This another what's the word I'm looking for? In my old days, my mind didn't work good. Example of hypocrisy, or trying to be, some supposed preachers out there peddle a way of thinking, and people pick up on it. I was down here at one of these stores, dollar stores, or I'm not going to call what name by there, but they're all over Alabama, and these little where you're supposed to get a good deal, Anyway, and I was walking outside, and when I got to the car, this was during the Christmas period, where people celebrate Christmas here in the South, even though I don't believe it's any kind of I don't think, in my opinion, it's okay to not celebrate it, but Jesus did. It is in the Bible. Jesus was born, but I don't think it's an ordinance. But I think it's something that people do. And apparently, but anyway, this guy that I met in the parking lot, I said, "Merry Christmas," just because that was a traditional thing, and he took it as an offense. Somebody told him it was a bad thing that the devil had contrived. But I read over there where it says, when it's talking about holidays, some people, reverence one day over another, but it's just not. It was just like another day to me, except people being happy and giving, and they were celebrating this the birth of Jesus Christ. So I don't see anything wrong with it, but this fella did. He said, "No, that's for the devil, Christmas." I said, "Okay, well, listen." I said, "Well, good day, I cut out the Merry Christmas, and I just said, well, good day, have a nice day, Well, it wasn't long. I had to come back to that same store, and I went back there, and there he was working in the store, putting up, guess what? Christmas. He had a job, and his job was to put up, along with all the other merchandise, put up Christmas stuff, And so I thought, well, that's kind of hypocritical, So the brother and sister down here below, how much belief is enough belief on the belief meter? See, how much faith is enough faith on the faith meter? Brothers and sisters, I believe this old boy down here in Alabama believes it's 100% grace. And the more you try to get that needle over on the belief system, the more you're going to end up failing God, because God is going to let you know through something in your life that you don't measure up to will happen. I remember one time this supposed preacher came through our town and had us convinced that we could get through a day without sinning. So I got up one morning and decided I was going to make it through a whole day without sinning. If we say we have no sin, we're just deceiving ourselves, brothers and sisters. The truth isn't in us. But I was kind of young in the Lord back then, and I was going to make it through this whole day without sinning. So I didn't speak to my wife the whole day. So my wife thought there was something wrong. What's wrong with you? I was just going to be silent the whole day, So I didn't say much the whole day. Didn't get involved in any kind of conversations at work, like you do. I just kind of kept to myself and went the whole day. Even my boss thought something was wrong with him because I wasn't my normal cheerful self. So I went through the whole day down at the mill. Didn't say nothing to anybody. I get home and at the end of the day, and we have big loads of garbage that I had to carry off down to the landfill or dumpster. And so I go out and I had a big load, and I had to put some of them in the back seat, but they were in plastic bags, so I put them in the back seat. I get the whole car loaded, and on the last load of trash, the plastic bag busted, and all that gooky mess went into my back seat. And I hollered out, I said a four-letter word, some ugly word, I let it come out. I didn't make it the whole day without sinning. So I believe that, and I still remember that to this day, So I just went back the next day and I said, well, I'm just going to be myself today because it's not working. But I believe that was God showing me that we are fallible men down here. There are some vestiges of sin in this body until we leave this body and quit taking baths. So it's 100% grace. That's the reason I believe we were left like that. Some people think they can live above sin, but I don't down here in Alabama. But anyway, I thought I'd tell you those little stories. Now, brothers and sisters, we fail God, thought, word, and deed, all the time. We just don't know it. But anyway, let me get out of here and get on about my business. But the name of this little video will be The Holiness Lady. She was a child of grace. Like I say, I saw her down at the store a couple years back. God had preserved her, and He loved her in spite of her doctrine that she was believing that wasn't true. Now, peace. If anybody makes it to the world to come, it's going to be 100% according to His mercy, not according to anything that we believe right or wrong, but according to His mercy. Jesus died for His people. He shall save His people from their sins. Peace and love from this old boy down here in Alabama.